Welcome to America Salutes. I'm Milton Schoen, and today we have as our guest Mike Christenson from Minneapolis Community and Technical College, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what his institution does and the difference that it makes in our community. And I know from our conversations previously that you've done a substantial amount of work with the VRAP program, with veterans coming in, and also with veterans who have just come to your school to learn some skills.
Milt, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here. MCTC has some of the best opportunities for veterans you'll see in the state. And we have about 500 folks now attending MCTC who have received benefits. So it's a big part of our student body. I'm here today to say this is the best time ever to really prepare for a construction trades job, especially specialty trades. In the city of Minneapolis, we're blessed with a building boom. It's coming fast. You've read about it in the Star Tribune this weekend. They covered the 2 new towers that are coming in downtown, one at Nicollet and Fifth, one in Loring Park. Those will be hundreds of new construction jobs. And of course, there's the People's Stadium, which is almost $1 billion of construction and will have on its crew probably as many as 1,000 electricians, according to the Stadium Commission chair who spoke at campus last month. So we're really gearing up. We're gearing up our programs for vets and others who want to return to the construction trades in and around Minneapolis. We really have a strong focus now on HVAC, electricity, and welding as those specialty trades that we think will have special appeal to the contractors who will be doing the work on those major projects.
And the interesting thing about your programs is they are 2 years, and you have a very high rate of placement, as I understand it, especially in the construction fields and a number of other fields, at some pretty significant pay.
Well, we really have a great economic proposition we put in front of folks on training now at MCTC. For $10,000 to $12,000, that's 2 years of tuition. You are almost guaranteed employment at this point. Out of our specialty trades programs, electricity, welding, HVAC, that is refrigeration, heating, ventilation, and refrigeration programs, we have 100% placement now at jobs that are $17 to $25 an hour. So it's really a ticket into the middle class for those who are struggling or are looking for a trade long term. So people often say, well, you know, in construction trades, you're just preparing for the next project. But we also know from builders like Mortenson, who appeared on campus last week, Ken Sorensen, the vice president of Mortenson, Lynn Littlejohn, their whole team came on campus to assure us that they would be partners on the Viking Stadium, and they'd be looking to our student body for the construction trades of the future all throughout the city and their projects.
And you're in an interesting position, because many of us just look at the economy at what we see today, but you get an idea of where we're headed because of building permits and other indicators in your conversations with private employers.
Yeah, Milt, the best database for the future growth of the construction economy is the permit counter at the City of Minneapolis's Department of Community Planning and Economic Development. So we follow that pretty carefully, and it looks to me like we're going to have unprecedented growth in the city now. Last year, for the first time since 1952, the city grew by about 5,000 people. And looking forward, it looks like there's about a $6 billion boom in residential construction. The city has led in the last 4 years on the number of units under permit. So the building boom that we see in Minneapolis should continue for a while. So this is a really good time for a vet to be trained into the construction trades at MCTC. Again, very affordable. Under $12,000 of tuition for 2 years, and you're almost guaranteed placement at a pretty high wage rate.
And that's a much better place to be than we may have been in like 2008, when the economy was dipping, where people had to worry about jobs being available when they graduated.
Right. At that point, we were just talking about a small fraction of the building permits. Now, it looks like this thing's going to run for a while. So I also want to make a pitch to veterans, particularly who perform in their service in squads. We would love to have a squad, a cohort of students that show up for, let's say, HVAC or, let's say, welding, because there will be opportunities. Why do we want to see a squad show? Because in the past we've had teams that have been organized out of businesses. For example, 5 years ago, 24 Delta mechanics came to MCTC and said, you know, we're, because of layoffs then at Delta, not true anymore, but then they were laying off mechanics, we want to get retrained as a team, as a squad. They stuck together in the HVAC program for 2 years. They all graduated together, they were all together, and they all received job offers immediately and moved out into higher wage jobs than they had than they earned as Delta mechanics. That's a great model. We like that model. So Joy Wise, who with Veterans Upward Bound at MCTC, was with you in December talking about the VRAP program, and I would really like to recruit a squad of veterans that might go through one of our construction trades programs. So we're working on that.
And now that you mentioned Veterans Upward Bound, one of the issues with someone who is returning to school when they've been in the workforce for a while is the fact they're not necessarily prepared to succeed in school. And you have this program, Upward Bound, that allows people to prepare so they can, if they've been away from school, so they can succeed at training.
Yes, and Veterans Upward Bound is in one of the nicest spaces at MCTC and has 154 members right now. Veterans Upward Bound is of particular importance to someone who's returning to school after a long time off, may be anxious about reading or math skills, particularly math. Math is key in welding and the construction trades. You have to be able to perform at 7th, 8th grade levels of math, which, you know, for many people requires some refreshment in decibels and fractions and angles and the like.
And Upward Bound receives its funding on a competitive basis, and it's been doing that for years. And our experience, we've worked with Upward Bound. We've had many people who have gone there and been able to succeed as they moved on to school, and that's an important thing for people to know.
Well, if you go to community college and you graduate, your chances of being unemployed are about half of what they are when you entered. So it's a remarkably good, it's a good investment for the long term. And I know our Upward Bound program works very closely with your office. Thanks for all you do. It's a very close relationship. Obviously, someone returning to school needs a tremendous amount of support. We need legislative advocacy, so there are those programs that help people get back on their feet. But at the same time, we want to move them up. We want to move them up into careers, and we think we've got the educational proposition that they're looking for.
Good. We should probably put the slide up, because I think we had a slide that shows the types of training and the wages that and the placement rates for people. And if we could have that slide put up, I think that'd be helpful to our viewers. And you mentioned the construction jobs, the HVAC. I think we had a previous conversation, and you mentioned nursing, and you've got some fields that are very interesting.
Yeah, well, Milt, the healthcare workforce in the state continues to grow. That's the big horse in the state's economy, and it's no different in the metro. We will have about 40,000 nursing positions open in the next decade. Half of those in the metro, LPNs and RNs. We see RNs as being increasingly a 4-year or a bachelor's of science necessary for acute care, and LPNs, of course, in service in nursing homes and smaller clinics. So, but that remains very highly paid positions. An RN now graduating is going to get a job, and she or he will get one at $27 to $32 an hour. So you see in the slide that I'm sure is running right now that we have career options where for $10,000 to $12,000 in tuition over the next 2 years, you're guaranteed placement at a high rate. And we are publishing this data. because we want people to know that we have 20 programs that are averaging placements at 90%. So it's a big step forward in a trade or a craft or a credential if that's what people need.
And I think we had a previous conversation where you mentioned the workforce participation in the nursing field changed significantly during the Great Recession.
Yes, what people need to understand about nursing in the state is that it responds to the economy. So the average nurse, when we began the recession, served at about 0.6 of his or her FTE. That grew during the recession because many households were suffering. The other partner in the household may have been laid off or may have declined in income. So what happens is nursing expands in a recession. Often the average FTE expands. Now with the booming economy, many healthcare experts think it's going to contract. So therefore there will be need for even more nurses than currently forecast.
So many of the nurses are working closer to a full-time during a recession, and as times get better, they can say, I can dial that back to half-time.
Correct.
And so that opens up a tremendous number of positions, especially in hospitals that are open 7/24.
Yes, another trade that is another profession that is wide open right now is sleep therapy. So sleep therapy has really become popular. We have seats now in polysomnography, as sleep therapy is called, that again will place people into jobs in the $25 an hour range, 100% placement. Everybody gets jobs out of our sleep therapy program.
Very good. And it is interesting hearing an educational institution that is so connected to the job market, and I think that's your niche, that you're training people so that they can succeed in the job market. And it seems like we're going through a perfect storm, a positive perfect storm right now, in that the economy is in a position that is going to allow just about anybody that goes through these programs to join the workforce.
Well, Milt, it's just a blessing to be a college in Minneapolis. We're situated right on the south side of 160,000 jobs. Major employers in the health industry. We're very close to HCMC, Hennepin County Medical Center, Allina, Abbott Northwestern, Children's Hospital, Fairview, North Memorial. All are major partners of ours, receiving hundreds of our graduates every year. So we're very grateful for the public-private practice of what is training and employment.
Very good. Well, we're in our last half minute here or so. So is there one thought that you would like to leave our viewers with about the opportunity to succeed at your college?
Well, I just want to say, with the stadium going up, that is a symbol of what's possible for people who are struggling and trying to find their way professionally. I don't think there's an opportunity that's quite like the People's Stadium. Governor Dayton has jacked up the hiring targets for people of color and women. So I think particularly for students of color and women looking at construction trades, you can't find a better time than now, or a better place than MCTC to explore that.
Very good. Well, thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Milt.
And thank you for what your school does to build futures for our veterans and others in the community.
And thank you and your office for our partnership.
Thank you.